You're listening to the Michael Baisden Show podcast.
Welcome to the Michael Baisden Show podcast. Now, this is a topic that I think for all of us in the studio, we all have children except Miles, who's a young old head in the studio. Tanisha, you have kids.
Yes,
I have a daughter. George has kids. Dominique has a son. So we're going to have a conversation with you all about what you think the difference is and how your life has been, I guess I can say, enhanced sometimes by not having kids. Do any of your girlfriends not have kids, Dominique?
Yes, I have one of my closest girlfriends doesn't have any children. Loves children, but doesn't have any. And she is always just spontaneously doing her thing.
Is it by choice or she's got bad eggs or something? What's going on?
Could you have said that better?
Right.
I think she didn't find the man she wanted to have a child with.
I respect that. I respect that because a lot of women's attitude is if I can't find the ideal situation, I don't want to be a single mom, or maybe, just maybe, I know this is hard for a lot of people to accept, not every woman and every man wants to have children. Thank you all for tuning to the Michael Baisden Show. It's all about being single and childless on the Michael Baisden Show. And I got Brenda on the line. Brenda, what's going on? How you doing? Thanks for calling.
Hey, I'm 57 years old. I decided not to have children at a very young age, and hey, I'm happy.
No, you're not.
I'm happy.
Brenda. No, you just think
Yes,
you're
I
happy.
am.
No,
I'm happy.
you're
You
not.
know
No,
why?
you're not.
Because I may not be a mother, but I have 100 and something nieces and nephews, so basically I am a mother.
Damn. Somebody made up for you, B.
Okay, so you know what can I say? I am a mother, you know.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. You know,
I
Brenda,
do get Mother's Day cards.
I'm sure you do. So Brenda, when I
Man.
said you're not happy, I was just playing devil's advocate because a lot of people believe if you don't have children that somehow you're missing something, that it was your duty as a woman to give birth. What do you say to those people?
It's my choice, not my duty.
Well, you certainly gave birth to some kids that like giving birth.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, you did your job.
I did my job, and I'm still being a mother because I got my oldest niece is 47, and my youngest niece is 3 days.
Jeez, got them spread out. Thanks for calling, Brenda. Appreciate you.
All right, you have a good day. Love you.
Love you too. I got Jeannie on the line. At least I think that's her name. How you doing, young lady? How's everything?
Well, I agree with the people who think that not having children is you have better sex life and you're less stressed and all of those other things. Your relationship is better, your sex is better, everything is just better. Children are beautiful if you want them, but if not, hey, don't have them.
So how did you, I don't know how old you are, I don't want to get into your age, but why did you decide not to have children?
I decided not to have children because I just didn't want to. I grew up with sisters and brothers, and I was the oldest girl, and I had to help take care of my siblings, and it was a lot. And I was like, I do not want to do this.
As a person with a child, a 26-year-old, George has a couple of kids, 3 kids actually, and I can say this as a father, I would have been okay without having a child, and a lot of women cannot say that if they have children because they're seen as a mean parent.
Hell, I couldn't say that, and I'm a man. I couldn't imagine my life without my kids.
Yeah, but that's understandable, and a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah,
But
I
would
mean,
you
I'm
have-
just saying, truthfully. I mean, I know I would have been okay. I would have moved on. I wouldn't have hurled myself off a building because I didn't have children, but I just could not imagine what I would be like without my kids and the love that they've given me.
Hey, Jeannie, thank you for calling. We're going to continue the conversation. Hit us up on the Michael Baisden Show. We're talking about single and childless and couples who've decided not to have kids. Nikki, how you doing?
There's a difference between wanting kids and wanting a family. I was raised with both
How
parents
about
in the
that? I
household.
like that.
So
What do you mean by there being a difference between wanting kids and wanting a family?
if I'm dating someone, I could be with this person and say, okay, I want kids. So it doesn't matter if I have kids from this person or not. No matter, I don't know if I'm going to be with this person within the next 3 months, 6 months, but I want
Got
the kids.
you.
Yeah.
Where's Sam at? Sam, what's going on? Welcome to the Michael Baisden Show.
My husband and I have been together for 17 years, high school sweethearts, and we decided not to have children. We're both babies of the family, and we travel. We, moved out the country, came back, and we're freaking happy.
Where is this mindset, Sam, that you have to have kids? Who started this nonsense that you must have children? Now, men don't get the same pressure. Some do because their mama wants to have grandkids. But why is this pressure on women? When did this start?
Well, I'm from a big family. However, my family do understand that I don't want children, and they have accepted it. But I think society says that we have to have children by 2.1 or 2.3 or 2.5 kids by now, and I haven't. And so I guess I'm not living the norm.
when y'all get through saying don't have no more kids, don't have no more marriages, don't have no more relationships, oh, you know what? I don't know what the hell the world gonna look like in 5-10 years.
Y'all getting it in at night too, aren't you? That's a yes, ladies. Give her a hand. That's a yes, ladies and gentlemen. Great job, Sam, and shout out to your husband, Mike Baisden. How you doing? Who's this, and where you calling from? What's going on? Welcome to the party.
Hello.
What's going on?
This is Audrey.
What's up, Audrey?
What's up, Audrey?
Hi.
What's up? Talk to me about this childless situation.
Well, as a woman, I just feel like I think it's okay to not have kids. I think that more people should be empowered to not have kids because there's so many kids out there that you could help and give more to the world by not having children. I think women shouldn't be shamed for not having children. You don't have to be a woman, it's complete womanhood to have a child. I don't think that it's necessary.
Hey, Audrey, this is a tough thing for a lot of people to accept. Every woman is not maternal. They don't have a desire to have children. I know people think that women are born with that, but a lot of women are not. What do you say to that?
I think people have a maternal instinct to a certain degree, and even if you do, you don't have to have children to complete yourself, to complete your life, because you could do so much more with your life and empower others by not having children. and I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah. So no matter how nice the guy is, so women always tell me if the man wants a child, then they'll have one. If he wants one. I never understood that.
It should be a mutual choice,
yes.
And it should be a mutual choice, and it's your body. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to bring a life into this world you're committed for 18 years, and actually the rest of your life, and it's a lot of stress, It's a lot of work, and if I could talk to a lot of young girls today, I would just tell them to really fulfill their lives by not having kids. I mean, I'm a woman and I have kids, and if I could go back, I would do it all differently.
Ladies and gentlemen, how many times do you hear that from a woman? The conversation today is about being childless, and during, of course, this time of the year, a lot of people couldn't imagine being without their children. George, I really appreciate and respect what you were saying about not being able to imagine your life without your child. Of course, My daughter's a huge inspiration for me. At this point in my life, everything I do is about building something to leave for her. Sure. But before I get into the but, just touch me on that, George, what you meant by not being able to imagine life without your kids.
Well, I mean, they shaped who I am as a person in a great sense, because I made changes in my life that I hadn't made for myself up until that point of having children, and other changes I made specifically because of my children. So they had a great deal to do with the character and the man that I am today. So I just could not imagine that process without their influence and their impact on my life.
Now here I come being devil's advocate. Isn't it amazing? Once a child get about
associate, you the devil's associate. You his spokesman.
I'm his spokesman, right? So you always think of kids when they get about 10, 11, 12 years old. What do we start doing as parents, George? Be honest. We start counting down to when they're going to be out of the house. Be honest with me, man.
It depends. I did not. In
What?
my situation, I did not.
Not you, but in general.
But I could see that happening. Yeah, a lot of times that does happen. Yeah.
And that's not to say you shouldn't have them, but it just shows that people, even those who have children, they are looking forward to that time of just not having that responsibility of getting up with their kids, dealing with their kids. And God knows the financial responsibility of dealing with kids is something that we need to talk about. Yes, it's all romantic. You love the kids, all this stuff, but man, kids cost money. And being a parent is more about just loving your child. It's about disciplining your child. It's about spending time with your child. It's about going to the doctor. It's about missing work. It's about a lot of stuff that everybody does not romanticize, that we need to stop romanticizing and get real about what it means to actually raise a child and not just birth a child, because that's what's going on out here. Hit us up on the Michael Baisden Show. Shout out to all the men and women who've had the courage and the strength to say, I love children, but I don't want one. We got to be okay with that, and we got to be okay with teaching our children that. Hey, Trinity, how you doing? Welcome to the Michael Baisden Show.
It's okay not to have a child if you choose to. I have one. My son is, 29 years old. I choose to have one. I enjoyed my son. I would raise him all over again. Wonderful kid. And I pray that one day he'll give me 2 grandchildren. But, women who make a choice not to have kids, that's their choice. We who decide to have children should not get upset because other females don't want to have kids. Some people don't want to go through the procedures of the body changing all of that.
That's right.
That's why some people adopt kids, and then sometimes people who really want the babies cannot have the babies. And the
Wow.
ones who get the babies
Absolutely.
don't appreciate.
How about
kids.
that?
Ooh, now she's saying the truth.
You know, that's what I just said a moment ago. I said that people don't think about the difference between giving birth to a child and actually raising a child. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's something you need to think twice about if you want that lifetime responsibility, because it does not end at 18 or 21 years old. Anyone with a child knows that.
You know, and I think that's one of the reasons I feel so good and why I'm so strong about my point, because I'm one of the few parents that my son is my best friend right now, and he's 19 years old, and we talk about things that are real life, and he's a real friend. So I feel really good about not what I did in the past, but even what we're doing right now.
Now, here's something I got to ask you, Trinity. For the women that you know who have children, would you, and I don't want you to be judgmental because I know they know your voice, but we know there's some women who don't need to be having children, don't we, Trinity?
I don't call names, but I know there's some people don't deserve having kids at this moment as of now.
Thank you. And she said deserve because children are a gift. Thank you for calling in, Trinity. And love that
That's
accent.
the
Where you
truth.
from?
Trinidad.
Trinidad, baby! Oh, I love Trinity women, and Trinity women love me, boy.
You love tranny women.
I said
You
Trinity
saying that.
women, not tranny women. Oh, my God. Give it. Bye, Trinity. Thanks for calling. Oh, man, y'all blowing me up today. Where's Tara at? Tara, please help me. How you doing, Tara? God, dog.
Hi, how are you, Michael?
Hey, lady.
Hey, what's up?
Don't talk to George. We got issues right now. Talk to me, Tara. What do you say?
I say that I made a conscious decision not to have children, and I'm 47 now, so without probably some intervention, I probably wouldn't have children at this point, but I just got married. My husband and I married. I was 44. And so we talked about it. He had no kids. He was 50. We talked about it, and he said he didn't want any kids. And so I was relieved. Really, I would have probably done it for him, but we've been married several years, and we couldn't be happier.
Let me ask you a question. So you see couples with children, more older couples too, because you know adults are having kids later in life now. Women are having kids at 40, guys are having kids at 50, 60, God knows. And you look at your life compared to the people who have kids who are older. What do you see is better about yours?
We just have the freedom to do what we want with our time, with our money. When we get home from work, we just do what we want to do. And I think that's the benefit. And I've heard people tell me, well, Tara, why don't you have kids when you get older? Who's going to take care of you?
Yep.
And I'm like, I can't take care. I'm not going to have children as an insurance policy for somebody to be a caretaker. I could really dedicate that $2 million plus, take my own care if it was like that.
Yeah, you like walking around the house naked when you get home, don't you?
Yeah, I like the option.
Oh, that's my girl. Thanks for calling, Tara. Appreciate you calling to the Michael Baisden Show. Shout out to all the couples who decided not to have kids. I know. I'd like to get raw.
Oh, my God.
Okay, that's probably
Children around. Children around.
Yes. Never mind. Please delete that, Miles. Please.
Nope. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? So I want to know, do you think it's still widespread? Because I know it used to be pressure back in the day, especially when you get it, back in our days, if you will. Do people still pressure people to have kids now, though?
Yes, they do. But nowadays, kids are having kids anyway.
Well, that's always been the case, Lisa. My mother and most of our mothers were, had children by the time they were 20, 21 years old. That's always been the case.
Yeah, but not at a rate that it is now, Michael. You had a few people that had kids at a young age, but not, a whole block of young women that have them.
That's true. So, Lisa, what's on your mind? Talk to me.
It's a choice for me. I'm 21. I'm still young. I go to cosmetology school. So right now, I'm making a decision to make a career out of something, make my life together, make sure when I do find that person, make sure they're the right person. And if they're not, I can do it on my own and make sure that I don't have to carry anybody with me to do it. Like, a lot of people don't make sure of that.
First of all, I think it's really cool that you're 21 years old, listen to the Michael Baisden Show. So I got a question for you at 21. Would you be okay if you never had children, speaking as a 21-year-old?
Yes, because I can keep my money to myself and do whatever I please.
Wow. That is big coming from a 21-year-old. What about your girlfriends? Are they the same mindset, or are they determined to have babies?
They're not determined. They're not determined to have kids because they already have a kid or at least one or two. So,
are they good mothers?
At the end of the day, Yes, they're wonderful. I'm a god mom. I'm a mom without being a mom, and I'm proud of that because my god baby is my number one.
How about that?
Since I don't have a kid.
I am so proud of you at 21 years old, being willing to call into a national radio show and say, I'm good if I never have a child. We need more young women to be okay with that if it's their choice. Hey, Lisa, thank you for calling into the show.
Thanks, Lisa. She going to get pregnant next year, won't it?
Who's on the phone line? Mike Baisden, how you doing? Who's this? Oh, boy. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Good. First of all, you sound wonderful. Thanks for calling to the show. What's on your mind about being single and childless?
I am 45 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a nurse. I'm a professional. And I've chosen to be childless. I mean, and people think it's a selfish decision, but it's actually not. It's actually selfless. If you know that you're not meant to be a parent, it's okay.
Well, certainly if you know you're not meant to be a parent. I agree. It is selfless if you know that, hey, I'm not going to be a good parent and I don't want kids, so I'm going to choose not to. That's just a responsible thing to do, isn't it?
How about that?
It is. And I babysit doctors all day, every day. So I feel like I already have kids.
That's right. Nothing will tell you or teach you whether or not you want to have children more than growing up with a house full of kids or having friends with a bunch of kids and let you know this is just not for me. How do you come to that decision as a woman to say, I don't want it? Is it not being maternal or is it seeing other people?
No, for me, it's not because I'm a caregiver. So I give and I take care of people every day. No, it's just seeing other people. And I never wanted, I was raised by a single mother, and I didn't want to have kids in that same situation.
How about it being that simple? For a lot of people calling into the show at 45 years old, I'm glad you're happy. Your money's yours. Your time is yours. And even if it is a so-called selfish decision, it's still your decision. So who cares what other people think? That's what I say.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll date you.
You know you will. We already know that.
I love women
girl,
without
hold
kids.
on the line.
No, hold on a second. I'm telling you. Do you know how rare it is? Do you know how many men will say when a woman says, I don't have any kids, guys are like shocked?
But it's a lot of women without kids now.
Yes, there's a lot of women.
Why you're doing this show?
Yes, a lot of women without kids. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you.
No, thank you so much, sir, and thank you for addressing this issue because it's very important to some of us.
You know how we get down. It's the Michael Baisden Show. So, George, even people with children seem to prefer to date people without children. This is something, like you said, it's not that difficult to find now because there's a lot of people without kids, dude. A lot.
Sure, of course it is, and obviously when people become empty nesters and maybe they've left their spouse and maybe gotten divorced and they find themselves with no kids to take care of and single again, of course they don't want to date a person with kids. Not just because they don't like the kids, they know the obligation that goes with having kids.
And let me tell you the difference with dating someone whose kids are gone and someone who doesn't have kids at all. Because if you're a real parent and the other person is a real parent, they're still in that child's life. And you have a lot of adult kids. Let me just say this. You have a lot of adult kids who are problematic. You think it's the young kids that are the issues, the infants and the teenagers. Let me tell you something. You got a lot of adults who are 20, 30.
Locked up.
What?
Got the young man locked up, and she can't put no money on your books because he putting money on the little boy book.
Yes, it's not about the 20-year-olds who are coming home. You got 30, 40-year-old kids, man. I'm not kidding.
Books, though.
George.
They need that.
I need you to focus on the topic, man.
Hey, I'm just saying, I didn't want to take the money off the young boys' books, though.
Hit Me Up Right Now is not just about being single and having young children, dealing with that. People want to date people without children, period. What's my girl's name? Is it Tanisa? Hope I'm not mispronouncing your name.
Tanessa.
Tanessa.
Lord.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I do that all the time. Yeah, I was close. Talk to me, Tanessa.
Yes, I was just calling to comment on about the women with no kids. I am one of those women. I am currently happy at this moment, but God hasn't blessed me with the right guy, so I guess I was the smart one and didn't just have a child by any guy.
Now,
because George, we both all over this. Go ahead.
Now I get this, and I understand that for you and a lot of people call in. But could it be some women out here that don't have no kids because don't nobody want to have no kids with them?
Dude, don't be talking to our listeners like that, man.
I'm saying,
you're not saying her, right, George?
No, I already know. I heard her story for the first time like you all did. I believe her. I think that's a touching story.
Okay.
But I'm talking about the other ones who just like, nah, I don't want to have no kid. Well, everybody say that.
Oh, my God.
I'm just asking, Mike.
Tanessa.
Topic.
Yes.
Could you hold on a second?
Yes, I
Put
can.
on hold. Put on
I
hold.
thought about that.
George,
What?
George, listen.
That makes sense, though, don't
It
it? It's got to be a percentage.
That's right.
It's got to be a percentage.
It's got to be a percentage of them that just don't want those eggs. That's all I'm saying. Say hello to Lakeisha, George.
Hey, Lakeisha, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you? It's Lakeisha.
Oh, here we go.
See,
Lakeisha.
I knew.
Leave me alone. Lakeisha, rather. Listen to this. So George said the reason why a lot of women don't have kids, and maybe some men too. Some. They don't because nobody wants to have a child with them. That's what he said.
I don't want the headache. I was married for 9 years, and I wasn't having it.
Wow.
That's one of the reasons we got divorced.
Really?
He already had children. Why does he want any from me?
Wait a minute.
Number 3.
Wait a minute, Lakeisha.
Well, she's wife number 3.
Yeah,
though.
but I get that, though. Did you all have that conversation before you got married? I think you should, don't you?
We had a discussion about it before we got married. I said, look, I don't want to have kids. Is that okay with you? He seemed to be fine with it. But then all of a sudden, he's got a baby on the brain.
When you asked him that, did he say, yeah, that's okay with me. I don't want to have any more kids. Did he say that?
That was the end of it, at least so I thought.
You know what? I get the impression he didn't say it, George, because I know where you're going with this. Because she said he seemed to be okay with it, but I don't think he actually. Yeah, man, you're listening to it. Lakeisha, we think that you did not make it clear that you were not having kids.
I did make it clear. I was so clear. Oh, my goodness, I couldn't get any clearer.
Okay.
All right. Did you have a lock on your eggs? Did you have a...
You get out this woman's uterus, man. Will you please? In this day and age, this is the last place we need to be, okay?
Oh, look who's talking. Lakeisha, thank you very much for calling. I appreciate you with your bad phone, girl. We love you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Oh, my God. Bye-bye. I enjoy my job. I do. I enjoy hanging out with you all. And that's why we call it the Michael Baisden Show. You all get a chance to call in. We hear your voices. No one, and I repeat, no radio station, certainly no urban radio station, talks to this many listeners every day than we do. You all are our show. You all the reason that we're here. You all the program. You all make the topics happen. You bring the energy. You bring the topics. Yes, George is a little crazy. He's got some issues, but you all bring out his best each and every day on these topics. So, and I wanted to talk about this today because I'm a man who has an adult child, and I know as much as I love my princess, and she knows that I does everything that I do for her future now. This is her legacy now. But I would have been okay. I would have been happy. My life would have been fulfilled. And that's not being a bad parent saying I would be okay, George, if I didn't have a child. And it's okay to say that.
Yeah, I certainly am not a person that ever suggested that it's not, because I believe the one word is choice in all of this. All of us have a choice to do whatever we did, and some of us made choices that we really, really appreciated the choices and loved them, and we made choices that we regretted. But nevertheless, it's all our choice. And I respect anybody's choice to have or not to have children.
And I want to make sure we're not romanticizing having children, man. They're not toys. They're human beings. And the cost today of raising a child is astronomical. It's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's not just I know it's not just about money, but it is. Private schools now, because we can't trust the public schools because the systems are messed up, because of the way we want to feed our children healthy food costs more. We want to send them to daycare. We want to make sure they have quality child care. We want to make sure they have quality stuff and protection. So we need to live in better neighborhoods. That costs money. And all I'm saying is before you think about having a child, think about what it's going to cost to raise a child. Hey, thank you all for listening to the Michael Baisden Show podcast. Don't forget to join me on Michael Baisden Live and Michael Baisden Show on Facebook, and Baisden Live on Twitter, and Baisden Live on Instagram, Baisden. How can they reach out to you, G-Dub?
The Stress Reliever.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that would be the Stress Reliever on Instagram. Dominique, the prima lady. Okay, it's Dominique's turn, George. Dominique, how do they reach out to you on social media?
On all the social media, it's Diprima Radio, Diprima Radio. See you there.
Hey, thank you all for tuning in to the Michael Baisden Show podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Michael Baisden Show podcast.